Hello, this is Nicole with Angelic Therapy and Healing, bringing you a general reading for the week of Monday, October 30th through Sunday, November 5th. Hello, November. For those fellow Scorpios out there, happy birthday. My birthday is actually on the 6th, so I am a Scorpio with you. Can't believe we are about to be heading into the holidays. Anyhow, welcome to the channel for those of you that are new. Hopefully you're going to get something from today's reading that's going to help you with your journey and with the things that are going on in life right now. For those of you that are loyal subscribers, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for all your comments, your feedback, your donations, all your love and support. I do appreciate it. It means the world to me, so thank you so much for that. Now, this week we do have a full moon. It is going to be a full moon in Taurus, and that is on Saturday, November 4th. It's going to be around 1:30 in the afternoon, Eastern Standard Time. You can check and see what time that is in your time zone. I'm not going to go into details of what that's about, but if you look online, you're going to get some information. They do call it a beaver moon. So for those of you that are doing a little research, look up the full moon in Taurus or the beaver moon, and you'll be able to get all types of details. The big thing to remember when it comes to full moons, this is the time that we let stuff go. It's like the Frozen movie, stuck frozen in time to just let it go. But if you have any emotions, any things that you feel that you need to let go of, it's a good time to write up a list and then pray, ask that God and angels help you release it and then burn it. The other thing is if you have some tie with someone, and it doesn't even have to be an ex-lover, it could be, you know, maybe a family member that you've just had some conflict with, or maybe, you know, even pains that, you know, as a child, you know, inner child healing. So maybe your mother or your father made you feel a certain way, and that's still affecting you today. What you could do is you can write them or an ex-lover or anyone a letter, and in that letter you put everything that they've made you feel, and then at the bottom you're going to want to close it to let them know, you know, I forgive you, I forgive myself, I love you, I love myself, and then you sign it. And then what you do is you rip it up and you burn it, and you toss that on the ground, and that helps break those cords, those ties, helps end it. Of course, you always pray that God, Jesus, and angels free you of that, lift that burden from you, help you completely sever the ties between you and that person and release that pain so you can move forward. So full moon's good time to do that, so take advantage of that. And we are going to be, those here in the States are going to be losing an hour of sleep, sadly, on Sunday the 5th. So be sure to set your clocks back an hour. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. For those of you that are interested, pulling from Sherlock Holmes Tarot deck today. Also going to be pulling from the Angels of Atlantis, pull a Doreen Virtue Angel Answer card at the end, and then I have my Sibyllus, Lenormands, and my Findicicles all prepared for any clarifiers as we need them. When I prepare, I do pray and ask that each of you receives at least one message. You should find at least one thing in here for you. Hopefully you'll find more than that. But please do remember, this is a general reading. It is for thousands of people. So you might only find a couple things that resonate with you. So just bear that in mind as we work through this. And let me make sure, perfect, that you guys can see all that. Okay, so let's see here. What we have as the situation, we have the 9 of Deduction, which traditional tarot would be 9 of Pentacles. We have where you are emotionally, how this situation is emotionally affecting you. We have the 7 of Evidence, which is the 7 of Wands. What is blocking you and challenging you? We have the 4 of Deduction, which is Pentacles. And what is unknown to you? We actually have 2 cards. We have a Major Arcana, which is the Gallows. Traditional tarot, that is the Death card. And then we have the 7 of Deduction, which is the 7 of Pentacles. And then for what the angels are recommending, okay, we've got to pull 2 more cards for that. We do have the 2 of Evidence, which is Wands. And at the bottom of the deck, we have another Major Arcana, which is the London Times, and that is the World. So actually, I'm going to put that there for now. Move this deck. And you get 2. Lucky you, lucky day. Okay, let's see here. And the other 2 cards for recommendations. We have Metatron, Wisdom, and Sapphire, the Surrender card. Okay. So Really neat thing that you're going to find with these Sherlock Holmes cards is they do have different meanings than your traditional tarot cards. So they're not necessarily what you think their typical meaning would be. Keep that in mind as we go through this reading. The other thing is, those of you that have been with me for a while, you know that I am clairaudient, clairvoyant, medium, psychic, all that stuff. So I hear Jesus and angels talk to me. So a lot of times they're going to say meanings that actually have nothing to do with the card. So whatever they're saying, that's what we're going to go with, even if it goes completely against what the typical meaning of the card is. So, which they do sometimes. Okay, so with the 9 of Pentacles, 9 of deduction, this card, it's all about, you know, our skills and things that we've accomplished, our accomplishments, because Sherlock Holmes, he had a lot of skills. He was very well rounded. He understood geology, and he was extremely good with chemistry and literature, and he was also like a violinist, and he did Japanese wrestling. He was a swordsman. He was a boxer. I mean, he did a lot of creative things, very well rounded. Now this card is all about, you know, creative satisfaction, because, you know, he did multiple things and that fulfilled him. This is about enjoying the accomplishments, advancing our knowledge, advancing our understanding of things. It's also about emotional security. It can be about the enrichment of being with a partner. It can also be, you know, enjoying solitary pleasures, you know, enjoying doing things on our own. It can also be enjoying things that are beautiful, enjoying nature, basking in our own glory. It can also be, you know, enjoying, you know, athletic activities. And it can also be, you know, fulfilling physical sensations, physical enjoyment. Because if this were like in reverse, that would be overindulging in those things. But it's also accomplishment, ease. And it's interesting because he has the sword, like, kind of, if you can see here, it's kind of drawn to the past. He's looking to the past as though something is coming in that he does not want. Something is coming in that he is fighting, that he is apprehensive about, that he is worried about, that he is even combative. Because when you pull your sword and you're ready to stab someone, you're quite combative, but you're doing that in a protective nature. You're trying to protect yourself. So he is trying to protect himself from an adversary who is coming in from the past. Some of you, it's weird because what they're saying is it's counterproductive. Some of you have information coming in from a lover, from a partner. Now, you can't ignore the fact that we have all these pentacles. We do have 2 major arcanas. Major arcanas are big, huge, fated things. We don't have a lot of control over those things. But when we have big, fated things come in, they shift our lives for the better. So even though you got to kind of let go of the steering wheel, let God take over, it does make things improve in our lives. So you can have that reassurance when you just let go. But then we have all these these pip cards. So you do have control in this situation. You have quite a bit of it. But you have all these pentacles. And you have 2 wands. So it's about money and action. There's no cups. There's no love. There's no emotion. So for some of you, it could be information coming in about work or some legal lawsuit that you have been involved in, and you are apprehensive about the information that's going to be coming in. You are worried about the information that's going to be coming in. You are trying to protect yourself. You are guarded. You are shielded. He's completely clothed. But the information that's going to be coming in is going to ultimately lead to satisfaction. it will lead to that emotional security that they were talking about, but also financial security, because many of you are worried about finance. So some of you will be getting some information that maybe you've been going through a divorce proceeding, or maybe you've been splitting up a business with your partner, and you're going to be receiving the disposition. The information is going to be coming in that the decision, it was not what you were expecting. Maybe you were expecting things to be split 50-50, and maybe you ended up getting 40% and they were receiving 60%. But it's going to be some information that's going to come in. It's going to come in rapidly. It is tied to your finances and your money, and it is going to be something that you don't expect. However, it's a positive. It's actually positive. What we have as far as where you are emotionally with regards to this, we have the Seven of Evidence, which is the Seven of Wands. And this card is, it's about, sometimes investigators, they can be a Sherlock Holmes. They can be really, really good at what they do. They can really know their stuff. But sometimes they need some help. They need some assistance. They can't do it on their own. So like this is Watson. Yeah, this is Watson walking, and he's got this dog Toby, who is there to assist him. And so they're walking, there's this figure way down the hallway, but it's something he cannot accomplish on his own. And this is all about, there are times that, it is advisable that you don't do it alone, that you have someone with you. It's about accepting help, accepting assistance. It's also about, having our tenacity, our ability to stick things through, paying off for us. It's also, defending ourselves, defending our personal views, our personal beliefs, standing up to adversity, standing up for ourselves, standing up for our beliefs. It's, going head to head with the situation, no matter how difficult, having those discussions, having those conversations, those debates, because that will help fix things, sort things out, clear the air. It's also persistence with regards to things in an area where you are correct. It's also being very courageous, because it takes courage to do that. I mean, it even takes courage to walk down this dark hall on his own. You have to be fearless. You have to be courageous. It's also success despite having adversity, despite having many challenges and things against us, working against us. So for some of you, this partner that you're going to be finding information, they've been very difficult. They've been doing things behind your back. There's been a lot of hidden ill intent, actions that are not in your favor. A lot of deception and lies. But by being persistent, you'll be successful. But it's also persistence in listening to our intuition, because for many of you, you've had a feeling that something is not right. You've had a feeling that something's off. But you didn't have physical proof of it. But because a dog is, has a very strong nose. A dog can really sniff out the things that can't visibly be seen. You can't visibly see it, but a dog will find it because the dog is picking up on the scent that something's off. So many of you, it's about listening to your intuition, because you have not been listening to your intuition. And when you do listen to your intuition, you really don't want to hear it, because emotionally it doesn't put you in a good place, because many of you emotionally, you feel that this is coming to a culmination. It is coming to an end, and you don't want that to happen. But that is destined. You do have this. This is the overall energy, and it is a major arcana. It is London times, but that is the world, which is a culmination, ending, fated. So it is coming to that point. Emotionally, you're kind of a bit of an emotional wreck, because you don't want it to go there. You don't want to have to start over. You don't want to have to begin new. You don't want to have to put in work elsewhere after you've worked so hard for this. But it will be successful. It will be successful. We'll go over this card at the end. So sometimes we'll have something happen that we don't want to happen. Sometimes maybe we will lose a job. I remember years ago, I had, it was years right after I'd finished college. And, you know, I was working for this insurance company, and we were sold. And so we were all losing our jobs. And I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And it was a blessing in disguise, because that actually helped me transition. That was the first step for me transitioning into executive recruitment, which was very financially beneficial and had a lot of flexibility. And it was a gift. It was a gift from God. It was a blessing. For those of you in this situation, this ending, this culmination, this information that's going to be coming in, it's actually a blessing in disguise. It is something that it doesn't appear to you that it's positive, but it's really positive. It's really, really good. You just need to allow it. But you're not allowing it, and that's what's blocking you, and that's your challenge. You do have the 4 of deduction. This is the 4 of Pentacles. And this card, you know, it shows them they're like really analyzing data, and there's this case, and this is all about a case that Sherlock Holmes had taken on, where it was this woman had disappeared, and he was trying to figure out where she had gone. And so he'd heard that the last place that she had been seen was with this missionary and his wife, and so she really they started really digging into that to find out, okay, what in the world is going on? What happened to this I think it was Lady Frances, you know, where has she gone? So they really started to dig in, and they found that the missionary that had captured her had done so because he wanted to take this jewelry from her and pawn it to make money. So they ended up finding that. They ended up actually finding her, and she had been drugged, and she was stuck in this coffin, and they were able to, you know, recover her jewelry and recover her. And it was all because all the little parts of the investigation, the little bits of information that they were receiving, they wouldn't have received if it would not have been for that missionary. His last name, I think, was Peter or Peters. He was slipping up, but it was all because he was greedy. He was greedy. If he wasn't so greedy, he wouldn't have been in that situation to begin with. And some other part of the case that's interesting. So when they were doing the investigation, Holmes was led to this one guy who was like this big old bearded man. And when he was led to that man, which, you know, took him down a rabbit hole, you know, he found this man, and he was accosting this woman. And what he discovered is that the man was her former lover. And he had gone off, he'd left her, he'd gone off on his own to focus on making money, and he had made a fortune. And then he was returning, he actually wanted to marry her at that point. But at that point, she didn't want anything to do with him. Because, again, he had left her. He broke her heart. He left her because of greed. It may have in his mind, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to make this money so I can financially prepare for her. But it was his greed. It was his focus on money. It was focus on wealth. So because of that took him down. That ruined it. But this is about our number one priority being money, being financial security. Above everything else, above love, above caring for others, above even caring for ourselves. The main priority that we have is money, finances, clinging to our resources, holding on tightly, being extremely overly careful and overly cautious, not taking any risks. And, you know, also clinging to things that belong to others. Because, like, when she was kidnapped and he kidnapped, the reason he did it is because he wanted her jewelry. It wasn't his. It never belonged to him. It never belonged to him. It was hers. He didn't have any right to it. So he should have let it be. But it's selfishness, you know, possessiveness, trying to possess something, own something, have something, hoarding something, clinging to something that is not ours, clinging to something that belongs to someone else, being very focused on, because you see this guy sitting at this desk, he is totally focused on the task at hand. but being totally focused on making money. No matter how you make it. No matter how you make it, just making that money. Now, this is what's blocking you. Many of you are. The reason you are blocked is because you're so worried about money. So for it being a romantic partner, it could be someone that you are going through a divorce with. It could be someone that you were in a contractual agreement with, you owned assets with, property with. It could be a business partner. For some of you, this could be a work situation. It could be your own business partner that you're releasing. But because you are so worried about money, this relationship, this partnership is toxic. It is toxic. For many of you, it's actually affecting your health. But you're refusing to let it go because of money. You're clinging to it. And for some of you that it's a romantic relationship, you're like clinging to that person, but they're not yours. They're not yours. They're meant to be with someone else. You're meant to be with someone else. It's time to stop clinging to something that doesn't belong to you, that's not meant to be with you. Because that's what's blocking you from having a culmination and ending and having a new beginning. Now, what is unknown? You actually have 2 cards. The first one's a major arcana. This is death. And, you see he's pictured here. It's the gallows. And that was the preferred method of execution that they had for many, many years. And actually, it goes clear back to, I believe, Middle Ages when they did that. And they would always do the executions in places that were very visible. So they would set the gallows up at a high point, like on top of a hill, so that the public could see it. And it was also a way that the people that would perform the executions, they would get paid per execution, and they'd get paid to carry out that punishment. And this went on for years until into the 1960s, when it was capital punishment was finally abolished. Particularly, a big location that's known is actually in London for this. But this card is, it's all about a sudden and abrupt change, a sudden and abrupt change in directions, an abrupt ending, an abrupt ending, unsettling change, something that's unexpected. It's also the breaking of old patterns, ending the way that we do things. In order to go down a new path, a new beginning. But it's transformation. It's overturning, ending all of our outworn behaviors, beliefs, views, also stale relationships, things that are no longer working for us. It's also, taking action, like taking ruthless action, although taking that action, being compassionate when doing so. And it's welcoming something that is the inevitable. Because for those of you in this situation, this death, this complete ending, again, these are the unknown cards. This death, ending, completion, it's inevitable. It's going to happen. Like it or not, it's coming like a freight train your way. The more gracefully it's accepted, the easier it will be. And if you can take some action on it, the easier it will be. But it's about, also accepting the inevitable. It is going to happen. Accept it. Welcome the new things that are going to be coming in. Welcome the new beginnings. Welcome the new path. Let go of that old stuff that's just not working. And to also, it's like, the divine is coming in to force you to let go. Because you have held on for far, far too long. It is not working for you. It is not good for you. It is many of you, it's a very toxic situation. But it is time to let go. It's also time to pay attention to the signs and the clues. Because for some of you, you have not wanted to acknowledge those things. And some of you, because of it, you are experiencing health problems. So if we ignore something that we know is meant to happen, so we ignore our mission, we ignore something that we are intended to be doing, we ignore that, okay, so for those of you that this is a love relationship, we acknowledge that, okay, this lover, this partner, for some of you it's even a business, it could be just a business partner, strict friendship business partner. For some of you, it's a business partner that's tied to love. But for those of you, well, for all of you, it's making you sick. Okay. So for example's sake, let's say it's a lover, and you're worried and you're stressed and you're fretting, and you can see that it's coming, but you've worked so hard, you don't want to know that it's ending. You've put in a lot of work and effort. You just don't want to let it go. You don't want to see it, but you spend so much time fretting and worrying and fretting and worrying and not evaluating things, not accepting the facts, not accepting the truth, not accepting things as they are, not accepting that this isn't meant to be. This is not good for me. This is toxic for me. What you're doing is, disease is dis-ease. Because you are such an emotional wreck right now, and you have been for a very long time, and you're holding on to something toxic, for some of you, it's affecting your health. But the moment you let this person go, your health will turn around, and you get a blessed new beginning. It's also, ending old patterns, ending old behaviors, ending old ways that we do things. So maybe for some of you, maybe you've never wanted to, okay. So for some of you, let's say maybe you've been non-committal. Maybe it's so weird. Okay. Okay, it's kind of interesting. It doesn't make sense, but I'm going to say it because it's probably going to make sense to some of you. Okay, so it's a relationship for some of you. This may only be one or two of you. You have assets together. Could be business, could be estate, things that were left to you. It could be marriage, but you have money, you have investments, you have assets together. And even though for some of you, maybe you were married or you have been, but you've been committed to each other, but loosely. Because for some of you, even though you've been in this contractual, it's like a contractual agreement, could be marriage, but you still never committed to each other. It's kind of like an open relationship. You weren't committal, they weren't committal, you were non-committal. So for some of you, what's unknown is that way of life is no longer working for you. Maybe you don't want an open relationship anymore. Maybe you come to realize, you know what, I want something with more meaning. I want something with stability. But for some of you, that's the death that's unknown to you, that your beliefs, the way you look at things, the way that you view things is about to shift completely. Some of you, it's in the process of shifting. But for all of you in this situation, this is saying it's about to end. Something is about to completely end. Whatever's coming in that he has a sword drawn is this ending. The other thing that's unknown to you is you have the 7 of deductions, 7 of pentacles. And, sometimes Holmes would do things that to other people would look just really bizarre and odd. But he would do it to be able to deuce and figure out and solve the case, crack the case. And there was this one case that he investigated where this man had been, rejected by a woman many years before. And his name was John. And he was in love and she rejected him. So what he had done, or his name was Jonas. John? So his name was Jonas. So the man that was in love, Jonas. He's in love with this woman. He gets scorned. He, has his heart broken by her. So what he does is he fakes his death. And he faked his death to make it look like her son, John, had killed him. When in reality, what he'd done is he had gone into hiding. He'd built this home and he'd gone into hiding in the walls. And here they are like Smoking Mountain. They see this figure. He's walking down the hallway, escaping. And they just couldn't believe it. They were totally shocked. There's nothing but disbelief that that's really what was going on. This is all about, disbelief, not being secure, having a lot of fear of failure, a lot of also fear of success, self-doubt. It's also about really taking a look at our lives and evaluating our lives and taking stock. Is this working for me? Is this not working for me? It's also fruitless speculation about the outcome of a situation or about the details of a situation, really overthinking and overanalyzing something. in vain, working towards shared benefits. It can also be, unspoken suspicions that you have about someone. It can also be, being unprepared, like they were not prepared for him to pop out and start walking. That was a shock to them. That really threw them off. They were not prepared for it. Some of you are not prepared for this information that's about to come in. It's also a lack of fulfillment, and it's also letting things unfold, allowing things to just happen, allowing things to transpire, allowing things to end. And again, these are what's unknown to you. You have something beautiful. It is going to be a positive outcome. But what is unknown to you is, in order to get to this beautiful culmination, ending, to have something new coming in, a fresh start, some of you fixing your health problems, in order to get to that point, you have to allow the ending, allow it to unfold, allow it to completely be over. Dead, done, finished, not going to resurrect this situation. Finally letting your grips, letting it go. Accepting it. Accepting it. You have to accept it. It's also some of you are going to have your beliefs about someone change, like you believe something about them. So for some of you, you can't ignore that. This fire. Big old flame. So for some of you, this could be a person that is your twin flame, your twin soul, a divine partner. And for some of you, maybe there's an ex and you're picturing this worst case scenario with their ex. No matter how ugly it could be, and sometimes it's called their karmic partner, their ex, but the person that they keep going back to, the person that they are chained to, the person that they keep staying with. So you have these thoughts of you, where there's smoke, there's fire, and you're like, oh my gosh, he's a piece of shit, he's a dirtbag, he's this, I can't stand him, I've unfriended him, and I blocked him, and all these things. But for some of you, what's unknown is what you have thought about him is not correct. It's not correct. That's why for some of you, it's totally, I know it frustrates some of you sometimes when I'm like, just let go, let him do what he's going to do, you do you, don't worry about it. If something's meant to be, it's going to work out. And if it's not, it won't. But worrying and fretting about it doesn't do you any good, it doesn't do them any good, it doesn't do anyone any good. And I know that's frustrating because when we're hurt and we love and we care for someone so much, especially if it's a twin, that love is it's indescribable. No matter what they do, you will still love them. Always. Forever. And it hurts. It hurts when they choose someone else. It hurts when those things happen. But the best thing you can do for yourself and for them is just to love them and let them go. Let them learn their lessons. Let those things happen. But to go into a state of anger and frustration and, even spiteful, cutting off and all those things, and even just having these really ugly thoughts, if they are genuinely your twin, they're just like you. Are you an ugly, cruel person? Are you an evil person? Are you doing dark, twisted things to people? No. Because twins don't do that. Twins are here for unconditional love. He's you. So for some of you, these dark things that you've concocted in your head about what's going on with the ex, they're not true. You don't know that. It'd probably be good for you to let those beliefs end. Because if not, you will block any new beginnings with him when he's ready. Because again, it's a divine timing thing. Twin flames are intended to come together. They are. That's all part of their mission, their purpose, what they're here for. Most twin souls are meant to be coming together as well. But we can't do things to stop ourselves up. If we're putting off energy of all the time, I'm so angry with him and I think that he's just doing this and he's a dirtbag and da-da-da. Guaranteed he's picking up on it. He's picking up on it. He's not going to be coming your way. He won't come your way. But if you can just let go and be like, God, help me release him. Help me release him. Help me let go of this frustration and this anger and this disappointment and this heartache and this sorrow, because that's really where your anger is coming from, because your heart is broken. You are separated from your twin. You miss him. That's where it's coming from. But you just need to remember, twins, you're always one. You're always going to be connected. He's still with you. He is you. And just lovingly allow him to go through and learn his lessons and know that he's an amazing person. Don't think worst case scenarios, because those thoughts that you have are causing some blocks. And you're putting thoughts in your head that aren't true. So allow those thoughts and beliefs to end. Just allow them to end. Just know that you don't have all the information yet, and that's okay. We don't always need to have all the information. You know, if we knew all the information about what's going to happen with us, we would A, be overwhelmed and not be able to handle it all, not want to do it all. We don't need to know everything. And that also takes the magic out of life. I mean, we want things to be magical. We want surprises. We want these blessings and gifts and things to just surprise us and come in and just make our day, make our month, make our year. We don't need to know everything. That's the beauty of not knowing everything. We can allow God to show off. Let him show off. For many of you, it is surrendering and just letting go and just knowing, okay, I don't have a clear view of everything. I really don't know everything that's going on. I mean, I have a feeling, because let's be honest, if you're twins, you have a lot of intuitive. I mean, they brought up intuition. That one's going to bring up intuition too. You've got this connection. You've got telepathic communications. You do have a good sense of some things going on, but there are some details you don't know. Flip side, for some of you, they're divine masculine. There are things that you don't know about your divine feminine. Allow those thoughts, those beliefs, allow them to dissipate. Because at some point there will be truth and clarity. And for those of you, it's just allowing this relationship, this partnership, allow it to end. Allow it to fall apart. Allow it to be the final death of that. And just let things unfold. Oh, the other thing they're saying is, you know what, and not just when people were hung, but even today's court, systems, but a number of people were executed. A number of people were actually innocent that were hung. Some of you, you're hanging your twin flame. You're thinking that they have done something horrible, and it's not what you think. He's an innocent man. For some of you, the flip side, she's an innocent woman. They haven't done what you think that they've done. So don't hang them. Don't allow those negative beliefs to be there. They're innocent. Sit back, just throttle back a little bit on those beliefs and those views. Let those beliefs and views end, because some of you are about to be surprised when the truth comes and kind of just smacks you. I'm saying some of you are going to feel like you're smacked by the truth when the truth comes in. Surprised, startled. Okay. Now, as far as what is recommended for you, you have the 2 of Wands evidence. Okay. So, 2 of Wands evidence, earlier we were talking about how Holmes had all these gifts, these abilities. He was so skilled, so well-rounded. And one of his very, very big interests was chemistry. He was really, really good at it. And he could really uncover hidden things. And he would tout himself on the fact that he could take ashes from any cigar or any cigarette. He'd be able to tell just by the ashes what brand that was, what type of cigar, what type of cigarette. He also touted that he could do the same thing with perfumes. And in this, you can see he's got these 2 cigarettes burning in the ashes, and he's looking down this microscope and he's evaluating it. He's really doing some observation, but he's also listening to his intuition. Because sometimes he would do things where he was using those gifts, his intuitive gifts. Marrying up his intuitive gifts, his intuition, with his observing things in order to discover the truth, in order to discover answers. This really is about marrying those 2 things together so that you can get the truth, you can get the answers, you can see things clearly. This is also about control and mastery and having that in order to take risks. And it is about taking risks to go in a new direction. Like, getting the evidence that, okay, things aren't Things aren't what I thought. Things are totally different. Things that I have refused to see in the past, okay, now I'm seeing it clearly. And now I'm going to take the risk and take that leap of faith and go in a whole different direction. I'm going to go down a whole new path. And this is about also by observing things, by seeing the truth, by taking that new approach, that new path, and making good choices, you'll be able to reach your goals. And it's also, you observing and you coming to your own conclusions and beliefs, not allowing other people to tell you, oh, well, this is what's going on, this is what's happening. You observe it. You look at it. You listen to your intuition. I mean, our intuition is there to help us. It's there to guide us. All we have to do is trust it. Because when it comes to making decisions, especially if it's something tied to intuition, if we sense something is off, or if we sense something's meant to be, or if we sense that we should be doing something, and that thought keeps occurring over and over and over, but we don't physically see any proof of it, we can really cause ourselves a lot of confusion. So for those of you that have maybe put yourselves in a little spin tail because you're like, okay, well, I feel he's my twin. I think he's my twin, but oh my gosh, he keeps going back to this ex and doing all these things. And I just think he's a liar and he's a cheater and he's a scumbag, he's a dirtbag. But your heart tells you differently. Him showing up in your dreams all the time tells you differently. Him showing up in your thoughts all the time tells you differently. You've seen his name all the time tells you differently. Your intuition is telling you differently. But when your thoughts get spun up in a spiral, that does manifest. So that does continue to push the two of you away. That does continue to keep separation. That does continue to, now granted, there is divine timing, all these things at play, but it does keep pushing the two of you away. Because you both have to finish your healing, come into a place of balance. And when you come into a place of balance, it's a place of acceptance, releasing everything and just letting go and letting things happen and unfold as they're meant to. Letting go of that control. Say flip side for some of the guys, looking at things. So for some of you that this is a divine love thing, divine masculine. You've known that things are off with an ex. You've known that for a very long time. You've known that you need to let go. You feel this connection to this other woman. You're like, oh my gosh, why do I keep thinking about her? Why does she keep popping up in my mind? Why can't I stop thinking about her? I don't want to think about her anymore because I'm committed to this other girl. Now, I know that this other gal, I know that she has, some of you, it's almost like she has something over you. She has something that she uses to control you and to purposefully keep you stuck. You want to break free of her. Interesting. Some of you, they're saying that you have wanted to break free of her. You have, because you feel this connection with your twin flame, your twin soul. You've wanted to break free of the karmic, but because there are some contractual things tied to assets and money, she has held that over you to keep you from breaking free. Purposefully. There's not really the love there. Now, that doesn't mean that there's not been an intimate romantic relationship, but that deep unconditional love is not there. It's you've been controlled and stuck and manipulated because it's almost like she has you stuck between a rock and a hard place. She's purposefully held something over your head. So you've wanted to break free. You felt that, okay, this is bad, this is toxic. That's why some of you are having health problems. I need to break free of this. I need to get away from this. Oh my gosh, what do I do? God help me. What do I do? But you are worried about money, you are worried about finances, then you've got this divine love that you've met, and you're like, oh my gosh, I feel drawn to her, I feel pulled to her. I want to go in that direction, but I don't know what to do. And I don't know if I can believe it, because half the time, okay, almost all the time, I think I'm crazy and I think I'm losing my mind. I think, did I just hear her? Is she okay? Did I hear her cry out? Am I feeling this pain because of her? Why do I keep dreaming about her? I think I'm losing my mind. It's time to listen to your intuition. Your intuition is telling you that she's the one. Your intuition is telling you that she is meant to be. Same thing, both sides of the house. For those of you that this is love related and that's a divine love, listen to your intuition. Just truly observe things. Listen to your intuition. This card is also about new partnerships, new relationships, new beginnings. It's also, your opinion is something that will change the lives of many people around you. So the way that you've been perceiving things is going to end and shift and change, but that's going to change your life and many other lives for the better. But it's really listening to your intuition. That intuition is what will shift things for you. It will make things better. Now, as far as, okay, so we are going to first, okay, we're going to cover the overall energy first. And then we'll come to those two. Okay, so this is your overall energy. This is a major arcana. It is the London Times. In traditional tarot, this would be the World. And, you can see he's sitting here and, Sherlock would always, read the London Times. And the London Times was this major paper. It was international, touched all areas of the world. And it was very instrumental in his practice because, there were times that he would construct letters with words from the London Times. And sometimes he would pick up on advertisements and things that he was, people he was investigating. They would run advertisements in the paper and he would catch it when he was reading it. So it was very beneficial for him. But it touched the world. It was an international paper. And this is all about, really taking the time to rethink your life, reevaluate your life, and to begin new. It's about a culmination, a complete and utter ending, things coming full circle and ending, in order to start something new, in order to have a new beginning. This is the ultimate culmination point. But when we culminate, when we complete, when we end something, we can start something new. And this is also about really taking a look at, see how it's like studying the paper. It's about taking a look at the big picture, like really looking at things. Look at the big picture. How is this affecting you? How is this affecting your life? What does it mean? Is it something you want? Is it something that you don't want? Is it fulfilling you? Is it working for you? And really looking at the evidence of everything. Because for some of you, you really haven't wanted to see the truth in this situation. You really haven't. But this is about really looking at it. Taking the whole picture in. And then letting it go. Because by doing so, you will have success. There will be a successful completion and a successful new beginning. You will be able to have triumph over all the challenges and hardship and fear and limitations and all these things that you've been facing in this struggle. Because for those of you, you've got something coming in that's about to end. It has been a struggle. It has been such a struggle. It has drained everything that you have. But you will have triumph over that. And the triumph comes through the completion of it, the ending of it. It's also, this card talks about taking action. Instead of, action over inertia, actually taking the action, doing things. Because some of you have just stagnated. Because many of you just have been fearful, and it's a big thing, you're worried about your money. So you're fearful, so you're doing nothing. It's time to take action. I mean, you do have two of these cards are wands. Wands are all about action. It is time to take action. Sometimes we like to sit back and wait until everything hits the fan and we have no choice. We're forced to take action. For some of you, you're going to get some information that's not what you're expecting. Sitting back, so like when it comes to doing battles, you want to take the fight to your enemy. You don't want your enemy to bring it to you and catch you off guard. Because if you allow them, if you sit and you do nothing, you're going to give your enemy time to devise a great plan where they will have triumph and success over you. So say it's something like a divorce. Say, actually we'll say business. Say it's a business that you've had with someone. Okay, many of you, it's a business tied to love, tied to romance. But anyhow, you have this business together. And because it's tied to love and you're so emotionally in it and you've invested so much, you just don't want to deal with it. You don't want it to end. You're just ignoring it and just hoping that it ends and hoping that it goes away. And it's started to get into the whole litigation system and it's going through and you're like, okay, well, hopefully my attorney will just take care of that. And you're not calling, you're not checking on anything. But meanwhile, your ex-partner is is very active, is looking at everything, and is going to bring it to you. And so because you haven't been doing anything, you could be finding out the information that, okay, they're getting like 80% and you're getting 20% because you haven't wanted to deal with it, because you have done everything except deal with closing this, with ending this, to bring it to death, bring it to completion, bring it to an ending, because you haven't wanted that. It's best for us to be proactive, particularly in situations like this. Being reactive is not so good, because at that point you've lost everything, or you've lost a big chunk of stuff. Which is why this card is about take action, take the necessary action to complete this cycle, to end it, to have it be done. Because by doing so, you will have success. And really looking at, what is it that I want? What's going to make me happy? What's going to fulfill my heart? And then take those steps. This can also be like, for some, healing, spiritual healing. But it's definitely for everyone. It is a new beginning. It is a fresh start. It is something that will be successful. Now, for the recommendations, the other two cards that they have Metatron, Wisdom. I'm going to read these books for you real quick, and then Surrender. And they've been talking about surrender the whole time. Now, let me get this book. So Metatron is the supernatural teacher. And this is his card, Wisdom. And hopefully you can see that. I know these things have a horrible glare if they are at the wrong angle. So hopefully you've got that. The Sphinx has always created within us the wonderment of enigma. For within it being lies the wisdom of the centuries, the knowledge of the bygone civilizations. Therefore, your choice of this oracle brings to you knowledge of your own divine wisdom. Through eons of time and the quest of many lives, you have wrought such beauty and knowing within your soul. Metatron wishes you to be still, meditate on your own innate wisdom, and to act with honor of an angel. Please chant Ha, H-A, to feel these energies moving through your heart as the seat of the soul. So again, that they were saying, observe, be wise. Listen to that inner knowing, listen to that intuition, listen to that divine wisdom that's coming through and trying to help guide you and assist you. Now, Zephiel is, I believe, I think the divine lover or the sacred lover. Yeah, the sacred lover. Surrender. The angels want you to know that you are holding on too tightly to a part of your life, and that you need to relinquish that hold. Trust that healing will swiftly come, for it always does. Resistance only intensifies the aspect of life that we are holding on to, whether this be a relationship or a career or our health. Zephiel wants you to surrender to heaven and let the angels carry you. The lover angel wants you to learn how you may release all notion of control, substituting such action with a yielding to the management of life. It is an illusion that any part of life may be controlled by predetermining the outcome. Let go and let God in. Remember, everything that you surrender will be replaced by something better, thus allowing miracles to fully happen. Chant Ha, H-A-W, to allow your groundedness to be vibrationally opened. So when it has these chants like, Ha, you would Ha, anyone that's not done meditations, it's all about toning is what that is. So, and you don't just say Ha, but you would pull that out. Let's see. Okay, we're going to only pull clarifiers on 2 cards because these are all. I know sometimes they have me pull clarifiers because it's, for some of you, it's good for you to see the clarifiers. Nice to see that Nicole's just pulling it out of her head. But they're all pretty clear. We'll do that one and that one. Okay. So for the 9 of Pentacles deduction, we have marriage, message of concern, and courtship. Okay. So, I'm saying most of you, this is like love-related stuff. Now, could be a business deal, could be a business partner, because you do have a lot of pentacles, but this is marriage, and this is all about a close contractual relationship, a business partnership, a joint ventureship, an intimate friendship, a romantic relationship. This is any form of joining forces, any form of being in partnership with someone. Any type of bond, any type of friendship, any type of marriage, any type of contractual agreement. But when this card comes behind the cards, because these cards are like similar to Lenormand's, so it's really hinges off of like, you know, what's the order that they're in. If this card were here, it would mean you're about to have a new partnership, a new contractual agreement. When it's at the end, it means that the marriage, the contract is ending. It is over. It's a total ending, a total completion. Now, you know, I was saying earlier, like some of you, again, you're like protected, defending yourself. You have your sword drawn. You're like, no, I don't want that information. I don't want it to end. I don't want that. You're about to receive some information. And this is message of concern. So this is like, see how she's surprised, and she has her hand on her heart, and she's like shocked, total disbelief. Like, oh, I cannot believe that this happened. I cannot believe this news, this information. This is about, you know, really reconsidering your goals, reconsidering your wishes, reconsidering the things that you want. Because when we want something so bad, but that is not good for us, that is not destined for us, that is not helping us, that is hurting us, the divine will try and show us over and over and over and over to try and get us to let go and move on. And after so long, if we're not doing and we're not releasing, divine will step in and they'll take care of it for us. And for many of you, that is where you're at this point. They're kind of bringing you to the point that you really have to reconsider. You have to go down a new path. You have to go down a new path. This card, it's also warning, you know, if we have a lot of delusions and, you know, we're not wanting to face the truth, we think the truth is inconvenient, something we don't want to hear, something we don't want to face, we don't want to know, and bam, it comes in and stops us and we have no choice. It can be sad, it can be depressing, it can be worrisome. For some of you, this is because your romantic relationship that you had was compromised. It could also be like the business partnership that you had was compromised. There were some lies, some deception. It also, for some, it is about like a legal ruling, a disposition coming in that is not in your favor. It is not what you expected. It's not what you wanted. It is less than you anticipated. But when that comes in and that's that ending, you're going to have a new beginning. Because this is the courtship card, and you know, in the Victorian times, courtship, it was very formal, very, very formal. It was quite the process. But courtship, it's the early stages of a relationship. Like if you look closely here, you can see that Cupid does not have his bow drawn. He doesn't have the arrow drawn back. He's not ready to use that bow and put that arrow through. It's unstrung. And he doesn't even have the arrow. So this couple they're not wildly in love with each other yet. Because it's just new. It's a new beginning. Now this could be new beginning, obviously, in love. This could be new beginning with anyone. This could be a new beginning of social life, going out and meeting new people, a new romantic beginning, meeting new people to start a business with. But it falls on this Nine of Pentacles. So what this is saying is that, because again, remember this card, it's a situation. It's all about, because of advanced knowledge, new information that we receive, it actually brings us satisfaction, it brings us enjoyment, it brings us happiness. It also, it's about ease, it's about emotional security, financial security, satisfaction. This relationship that's ending, partnership, whatever it may be for you, has not been easy. It has been very difficult. It's been very difficult. But it is ending. You're about to receive information that it's over, that it's done. It's kaput. But that is what's going to free you up for a new beginning. For some, it's going to free you up for a new beginning in love. It's going to free you up for a new business partnership. But this new partnership, some of you, as much as you don't want it because you're fighting for the past, you don't want the past to end, you don't want to have to take a new path, you don't want to have to actually really look at your life and think, dang, I am miserable. I am miserable. You've not wanted to acknowledge that. You've not wanted to see that truth. But it's actually a gift. This is a blessing. Because it will bring you a relationship, a partnership, something that will be easy. It will bring you satisfaction. It will bring you joy. And you know, when this card talks about how, you know, he's has a lot of different skills and abilities and stuff. Many of you have thought that this person, this partner, was like the only one. Like you have, maybe you've dated some other people, but you've always gone back to him or her. For many of you, you've gone back to her, you're a man. But you've always gone back because that's what you've always known, and that's you've been stuck in your beliefs that no, they are the only one, they are the only one, they are the only one. They're not the only one. There's someone better for you. You think that's the only one you can be with. That you think that's the one that you can only make it with. But you're going to have much greater success with someone else. And they're going to be bringing that to you. It is going to come through some unexpected information you're going to be receiving. For some of you, you could be receiving it this week. Yes, many of you, you're a man. Okay, and this is on the 7 of evidence wands. So, many of you, you are a guy. You see him just looking all confident and swanky in his parlor. But he's looking head on. Because again, this is about being courageous. Being courageous. Standing up for ourselves. Being successful despite a lot of opposition. Also having discussions, conversations. He's cool, he's calmed, he's collected, he's confident. To begin this new journey. And you have the journey card. And this is travel. It's all forms of travel. Of course, you can see there's a train here, but it can be a train, it can be a bus, it can be a car, plane. This can also talk about vacationing, but it's really about, it is time for you to start a new beginning. It's time for you to move forward. It's time for you to depart, leave the old for the new. And then you have occupation. Now you see here, this seamstress, she's working really hard. Really hard. She's given it all she has. Now, you know, for seamstress, they can do a lot of very detailed, difficult work for hours and hours and hours, and they don't really get that much pay. Now, on the flip side, you can have someone that has like a hobby and it's something that they love. Same thing, putting in a ton of work because they love it. But it's starting something, doing something that takes some effort. This can also, when it comes to regards to relationships, it can be, you know, overcoming, working hard, putting in the work to overcome difficulties. Now this is again where you are emotionally about this. Some of you are emotionally, because again, this card is also about, you know, being okay with doing things, you know, that it warrants us to have someone to not do things alone, but it can also on the flip side be about allowing ourselves to do things in solidarity on our own, which is that. So for many of you, this is, you're emotionally upset about having to move and take on and let this go. Some of you are afraid to be on your own. So for some of you, it's been a relationship built on codependency. On codependency. But it's okay. Allow yourself to venture on your own because that will bring you success. And for some of you, they're saying like this has been so difficult for you that you don't believe in love anymore. You have given up hope and faith that anything will ever work out. You are going to have a successful new beginning. You are. But your heart, again, because Cupid doesn't have his arrow. So for many of you, you're like closed off to love. You don't think it's possible. You don't believe in love anymore. You don't believe that people can be truthful and honest, and you're just kind of really feeling down and negative and not open to it. You're just not open and feeling it. But this card is all about having a partner, letting someone be with you, letting someone help you. This emotionally, how you're feeling emotionally, some of you are just very upset because you have put a ton of work in. You did not feel appreciated. You did not feel valued. You felt like you just gave it your all. You gave everything that you had for naught. And for some of you, this is that you are weary about having to start over with someone new and put in the work to build something with someone new. But it will be worth it. It will be successful. You know, this card's also about like discussions, having those conversations. Some of you already have a potential. You're not together with that person, but you have a potential to have a new beginning with. For some of you, it could be a divine love, but you have this person to have this new beginning with. But you're afraid that having to have those conversations, and because again, this occupation card, when it comes to relationships, it can be about, overcoming the difficulties in the relationship. This is about discussion. This is also about don't go at it alone. Open yourself to a partnership. Open yourself to a new relationship, a new beginning. Have those conversations. Some of you are so afraid to have those conversations. You're so worried that you're not going to be able to overcome what's occurred in the past. Because you have this train facing the past. So for some of you, you are going to have to address what has occurred in the past. You are going to have conversations about what has occurred in the past, what has happened, what has been unknown. But by doing so, you're going to have success. You will have a fresh start. You will have a new beginning. Now, let's move these real quick. I'm going to put you an angel. So they told me to show you the card on the bottom of this deck. I'm going to pull it up in 1 minute. So, because they're saying if you can have the courage, if you can be fearless, if you can allow this ending, finally, no joke, allow the ending, let it go, and have those conversations, all those different things that they've been talking about. If you can do that, what that's going to result in for you, what your outcome will be if you do the work. Because again, for some of you, did I get the deck? Okay, that's one at the bottom of the deck. Because again, remember how the cards down here were saying that some of you are, you've given up on love, you don't have any hope and faith anymore, you don't think that you're going to find a partner who's really a partner, who can balance, who can be honest and forthright. You've lost hope, you've lost faith, and for some of you, you're just like, I'm not putting in any more work. I worked so hard. If you can do this last bit of work, if you can let the things end. And for some of you, this card that was over here that was blocking you, of course, they get more information when I picked up your cards. So for some of you, the thing that, is blocking you was this Four of Pentacles deduction card. So for some of you, what is blocking you is you're just working too much. You've got to take your focus off work. You're not happy. Your heart's not happy. For some of you, maybe things fell apart with a partner because all you did was work. You didn't care to put any time in emotionally. But that's what's blocking you. For some of you, you don't allow yourself to open. So for some of you that have a divine love, you've met your twin. Congratulations. That's a gift from God. That is a gift from God. It would behoove you to know that and listen to your intuition on that. People don't get that. Do you realize how rare of a gift that is? It is very, very rare. That is something people pray for and dream of and hope for. You have it, but you haven't embraced it. For some of you, the reason you haven't embraced it is, for those of you that are men, Now again, for sexes, feel free to change it. If it sounds like your story, feel free. But for many of you, you're a man. There is this belief, because you know they're saying for some of you, some of your beliefs and views are about to change. You're going to be evaluating your life, looking at what works, what doesn't work, what you want, what you need, what you desire, and you're going to make those changes. Hopefully, be courageous, make those changes. For some of you, you've had this belief ingrained in you that you have to have a certain, financial status. You have to have so much money. You have this fear that, I'm going to fail. I will fail as a husband. I will fail as a partner. So you do nothing but focus on work all the time. That's blocking you. That's blocking you. Your coworkers, when you're dead and gone, your coworkers aren't going to miss you. They're not going to miss you. They'll hire someone else and put someone else in your job at work. When it comes to employment, working in places, we're kind of like numbers. They'll put somebody else in there. Somebody's got a different number. They'll put them in our job. Life will continue. It's your spouse. It's your lover. It's your family. It's your children. They are the ones that will love you. They are the ones that will miss you. Because when it comes to a point later in life, if all you've ever done is work, and you're a workaholic, and that's all you focus on, at the end it'll just be you sitting on your own in a dark desk, dark room. At some point, for those of you that just constantly focus on work and don't open your hearts, this evaluation that you're going to be doing, it's not fulfilling you. It's not bringing you happiness. And money, work isn't not going to make you happy. It really doesn't. It's that deep connection with someone. They're trying to bring you a deep connection with someone. In order for them to bring in the new, you have to let go of the old. The new is not going to come in until you let the old go. Literally, no joke. Even those of you that are twins, they are not going to bring your twin in until you let go of this other person. And at some point, your twin is going to get tired of waiting. For some of you, your twin has gotten tired of waiting. But in order for God to bring you something 100 times better, you have to let the old go. But if you have the courage, what they were saying, this card on the bottom of the deck, is your outcome, men, gents. If you have the courage and you can do this, your outcome will be the gift. It's the gift. This is the luckiest card in this deck. It's very, very lucky. It's filled with surprise, success, joy. This is also something like God will give us a gift after we've had a really big blow, a really big hit. We've gone through just hell. We've gone through some horrible, horrible times, some challenging times. We've had our hearts broken. We've lost money. We've been at rock bottom, thinking, God, why have you left me? Why have you stuck me in this miserable place? Why am I even here? Because for some of you, you're just like, I don't even want to go on anymore. But by doing these things that they're recommending, you're going to clear that. You're going to close that cycle, close it, wrap that thing up. And you're going to be receiving a gift, a blessing. God is going to show off. You have to be open to receiving this gift. So for those of you that are talking earlier about how you're closed off because you've given up over faith, or some of you, you're closed off because of past experiences, you do have to be open. You have to open yourself up so you can receive this gift from God that is coming in for you. All these challenges and heartache that you have been going through is worth it. And you're about to see how worth it has been. No matter how painful and a struggle, because it has been a bad, struggling, difficult time. It's still worth it. You're going to be blown away by this gift that you're going to receive. And for many of you, if you can allow this cycle to close and end and do these things by Christmas, because with this deck, this card, the timing is Christmas. It's the holidays. You'll receive your gift by the holidays, by Christmas time. If you do your work and let it go. Okay, so go ahead and think of a question real quick. If there is something that was not answered in this reading, something that you still have questions on, go ahead and think. I'm going to pull a card real quick from the Angel Answer deck. Okay, you ready? You have Improving Health. Get the book. Okay, improving health. The angels want you to know that the health of the person you asked about is going to improve. You can request the assistance of Archangel Raphael and your guardian angels to speed along the recovery. This card may also be urging you to make more healthful choices in your life. If you're feeling called to detox from harmful food or substances, you should follow that guidance. Removing unhealthy practices from your life will make you feel better, vibrant, and strong. So hopefully that helps all of you. I do wish you an amazing week filled with a lot of love, joy, and blessings. And happy daylight savings to those of you that get to experience that.